Let's go. For this video, I'll be quickly looking at Michael Jordan's sidereal and moon chart. The reason I chose to do so is because the NBA playoffs are on, and in the basketball world, Michael Jordan is basically an icon. They still bring him up constantly, even during the playoffs, with comparisons to Anthony Edwards. Outside of the NBA, Michael Jordan is loved everywhere he goes, so I wanted to know the cause of that love and reception he gets. What makes a person get so much love from strangers everywhere they go? I've been thinking about that question heavily, especially these past few weeks. I always thought Venus in the first or seventh house would be the cause of that. I kept thinking to myself, Michael Jordan must have this placement, but I never checked until I made a tweet presuming he has it. About an hour later, I checked. He does indeed have Venus in the seventh house. His birth certificate was actually auctioned, I think. Let me begin with his chart. I see he's a Gemini / Adra ascendant, which means he is a person that rescues or becomes a savior to people, specifically people that are abused. In this case, he does so with his in-laws. When he does help people out, Michael Jordan wouldn't be all excited to do it, and it would show in his communication. I want to go away from his ascendant and talk about that Venus in the seventh house. Yep, that is what makes Michael be loved by tons of strangers wherever he goes. Strangers of a different ethnicity and race. Because Venus is in Sagittarius, so he loves strangers of a different ethnicity as well. What this does though is this actually makes him attract a lot of female strangers. Not just that, but religious females. Seeing a woman dressed in religious attire would actually turn on Michael Jordan. He is attracted to things like that. I'm starting to think Venus in the first or seventh house helps a person get fame. Even his wife would be of a different ethnicity. Actually, there are at least 3 indications of his wife being of a different ethnicity. Venus in the seventh house, that shows a marriage being heavily about love. 2 people really loving each other. From Michael Jordan's perspective, he would love the difference in views, morals, cultural values that his wives or fiancés bring due to that same Venus in Sagittarius. Unfortunately though, the sun is conjunct his 7th lord Jupiter in the 9th house, which of course causes ego conflicts centered around Sagittarius things such as religious views or beliefs in anything. It is like a conundrum, right? He gets excited due to his wife being of a different ethnicity or race. It is like a turn on for him, yet due to the sun's influence on Jupiter, especially during his sun or Jupiter antidashas, he's gonna have to deal with a wife that is very bossy in general. Not just bossy, but independent with her belief system. Beliefs in anything. If she thinks traveling on Sundays are bad, that would count as a part of her beliefs. Michael Jordan is the same way because his sun is in the 9th house and conjunct Jupiter, so he is a person that doesn't like to be told what to do. When you think about it, As a result, this arrogance comes out in his marriages, arguments with the wifey about who is right and who is wrong. My way is better. You should do it this way, etc. Anyone that is on top of their astrology game knows the sun's influence increases the chances of a divorce very highly. I have yet to see someone not having to go through a divorce when the sun is influencing the seventh house. There are two indications that show Michael not meeting his wives in New York, like the 12th Lord being in the seventh house. I honestly don't think his marriage ceremonies or engagement proposals would have taken place in New York. I gotta research it. I feel something like an engagement proposal would have taken place on an airplane or during vacation. There are too many indications for that happening. Shoots, that's probably how he met his wives while he was on a vacation. After typing this, I just checked his Wikipedia page and I just got reminded I was supposed to talk about his relationships a bit. Since his Venus plays an important role when it comes to his relationships. I won't say how. I know something about a certain placement, but in the future, when I get popular, I will elaborate on it. But if you look closely in his sidereal chart, it clearly shows he will have love relationships or sexual partners with people that are his business partners. Then, since the seventh house is involved, I wonder if that was the reason why contracts were involved in his relationships, or I guess secretive relationships in this case. I guess the placement I am looking at shows NDAs in a relationship, non disclosure agreements. I could be completely wrong though, because everything surrounding him and this Carla woman uses the words alleged, and Jordan did win the court case. It does seem though that they legitimately had something going on. My assumption was that contracts were involved. I want to briefly talk about his relationship he had with his father. He has the Sun conjunct Jupiter. Keep in mind, the Sun represents the father, and so does his 10th Lord Jupiter in this case scenario. Those two planets conjunct in the ninth house of teachers shows that his father was a religious person with lots of morals as well. Then it shows that his father traveled a lot. Additionally, the Sun's impact on being in the ninth house made his father be a teacher or like a coach to Michael Jordan. Actually, the Jupiter in the ninth house was the reason Michael got a college degree. His college major is geography. There is another placement that made him go to college, but I don't want to mention it. His father had a lot of Aquarius traits. As a result, Michael inherited these Aquarius traits, which would be shown in, let's say, his religious beliefs. Michael would be the type to want to know the scientific meaning behind religions. He would be the student to question what his teachers or even pastors have to say, which makes him have rebellious or opposing views when it comes to religions. People would think Michael Jordan's religious beliefs are unorthodox or weird. If you pay attention, I haven't even discussed the nakshatras. Trust me, when I read a birth chart, Me reading one house could look like a whole book, so I am trying to skim through this. I'm surprised his higher education wasn't anything science or sociology related. What caught my attention about his father was in his moon chart, the Sun and Jupiter are both in the fourth house, which made his mother become the father figure in his life. Evidently, his Sun rules his 10th house, which makes the father become the mother figure in a person's life, and vice versa. His mother would be the father figure in his life. This placement increases the chances of having a single parent. I don't know how old Michael was when his father died, though. Since Sun and Jupiter are conjunct in the Aquarius sign, fourth house, his mother carried a lot of Aquarius traits too. I use his moon chart to demonstrate how all throughout this guy's birth chart there are double or even triple entendres. You could find one thing in his birth chart and there are like two other placements that confirm what you see. Back to his sidereal chart, I still don't know what makes a person become an NBA player, but seeing his 10th lord being in the 9th house definitely has something to do with it. More so the 9th house, because even LeBron James has a similar placement with the 9th house. I'm guessing it's because NBA players travel a lot for work. In Michael Jordan's case, his birth chart shows a person with an unusual work environment or career due to the Aquarius influence. Then since Jupiter is conjunct the Sun, that shows entrepreneurship. I'm still surprised this guy hasn't done something like counseling, consulting, or advising, even coaching for his career. I could be wrong though. He was like an owner of an NBA team. Believe it or not, I'm not really a Michael Jordan fanatic like most people are. It isn't a hater type of thing either. I just admire how this guy is supremely loved. Lastly, what caught my eye at first was his Rahu and Mars conjunction in the second house. As we all know, that makes a person have uncontrollable or sporadic anger. This anger would come out through his speech or voice. So out of nowhere, he can just argue with someone. He could be calm 1 minute and boom, just start shouting out of nowhere. It is clearly evident, especially this conjunction being in the Cancer sign, his anger would be seen in his facial expressions. Then you have to factor in his Saturn and Mercury in the 8th house. That would definitely factor in his way of speaking. I forgot to mention his Venus in the 7th house gives female business partners. I see he has a female business manager. Yeah, this video is too long, so I'm done. Anyways, follow me on the other apps. There will be more videos to come.